Hey guys, in this tutorial we're going to create a simple Pong game, and to do that we're in Scratch and we're going to sign in. We're going to put in our username and our password. This is the same username and password that we used to when we joined Scratch from the previous lesson. If you've forgotten your password or whatever, click Forgot Password, check your email and you should be able to fix the problem. Okay, let's sign in. And now we're going to create a game. So click Create. And here we go. Now, we've got the cat on the left-hand side, and we don't want the cat. We want to take it out and put a ball, right? So we're going to right-click, delete the cat. And now we're going to choose a ball from the library. So down here you can see choose sprite from library. So we click that and then choose the ball. Now the ball will load up. We're going to put it there. Now we want to give the ball some movement, because if I run the program, if I play the game right now, nothing's happening because we haven't put any code into the ball. So what we're going to do is this. We are going to say when we press the red flag, we want the ball to move wherever I move the mouse. So anyway, let's go to events. We're going to put all the events in there. So if I could just make that bigger. So when I click the green flag, we're going to, let's have a look. We're going to have the ball moving towards the mouse. And we're going to use this loop to say that every time it's going to keep moving 10 steps towards the mouse. And this part here means if it touches the edge of the screen, it's just going to bounce. That means the ball will not disappear off the screen. Okay, so let's give that a try. So we run the game. There we go. And of course, like if you want to experiment, if you take this off, right, if you just run the game, right, see the ball's gone. So that way we don't lose the ball. So we can put that back. You can actually drag the ball back and run it like this. There we go. Okay, so that's happening right now. Good job. Now we need to create a paddle. So down here, we're going to draw the paddle. Now over here, we've got this button called Paint New Sprite. All right, let's click that. And we are going to draw a paddle on the right-hand side. So on the right-hand side, we're going to use a rectangle. We're going to have a filled rectangle. Let's have, we'll just keep it black. Let's draw the paddle like that. There's the paddle. Let's zoom out. Okay, brilliant. Now, we're going to put the paddle here. Oh, by the way, with this, if you want to make your ball smaller, you use the shrink button, which is there, and you click on the ball and you can make it small or you can make it big. All right, same thing with the paddle. If you click on the paddle, you can shrink the paddle or you can grow the paddle, whichever way. So I think that's good enough. So we'll keep it like that. Okay. And what we want to do now is we want to give our ball and a paddle a proper name. So that's already called ball. Okay. If we want to change the name, just click, change it to ball. For this one, for the paddle, right, what you do is click here, click on the I, and then rename Sprite1 to paddle. So that way it's less confusing. Otherwise, you're going to have Sprite 1, Sprite 2, Sprite 3, Sprite 4, and it will just get too confusing. There we go. So we've got ball and paddle. And now what we want to do, you notice when we run the game, the paddle will not move. There's no way to move this paddle. So we need to make it so that we can move the paddle with a mouse. So to do that, let's add some code to the paddle. That's the ball. That's the code inside the ball. Now we're going to put some code into the paddle. So this is what we do. So we want to say when we click the green flag, forever loop, we're going to set the x-axis. X means moving left and right. Let's zoom in a little bit. And we're going to move the paddle in the direction of the mouse. Moving on the x-axis, so like that. That's x and that's y. Now, we're going, so every time that happens, we're going to move 3 steps. So we're going to use motion and move 3 steps. So let's do that. Now let's zoom out. Let's run the game. Let's just give it a test and see if it works. There we go. So now you'll notice that I am moving my paddle as I move my mouse, like that. And of course you'll notice that the ball actually does not detect the paddle. The ball is simply just going through the paddle, or the paddle's just going through the ball. So we want to make it now so that the ball touches the paddle and it will bounce off the paddle. So let's stop this. We're going to move this a little bit. And now what we need to do is, let's get back onto the ball. So we want to say, let's go back to here. You can see it a little bit better. So what we want to ask is, if the ball is touching the paddle, we want the ball to bounce in the other direction. So we're going to have a forever if. So if the ball is touching the paddle, all right, we need to use different bits here. So if the ball is touching the paddle, then we want to, is that it? Point in direction. And let's just zoom out a bit. Point in direction. We need an operator. Because we're going to move in the direction minus 180. So this one, direction minus, and then we're actually going to put in the number 180. Later on, if you want to experiment with this, if you want to play around with this part and see what happens to the ball, that's no problem. All right, now let's give that a try. Let's test that. So let's run the game. Okay, now there we go, you see? So if the ball touches the paddle, then the ball will point in the opposite direction and will move away. There we go. All right, let's stop this. Let's move everything back. Now, for the next part, what we want to do now is we want to say that when this ball hits the bottom, it's going to say game over. So we're going to add a blue line at the bottom. Now, to add the blue line, we need to add a color on the backdrop. So the backdrop is actually here, right? Click on it. And now we go to backdrops. Okay, this is like the background. See all this white screen here? This is the background. This is what it looks like at the moment, right? So we're going to have a rectangle. We're going to use a red color. And let's just paint a red color at the bottom. Let's see. Is that working? There we go. Okay. So let's see. I might have to, I think it's too, no, I've got to make it a bit longer. Yeah, it's not. All right, it's good enough. It's not the best, but oh well, doesn't matter. So there is the color. And what we want to do is we want to say that when the ball touches this color, it will say game over and it will stop the game. So this is what we do. We go back to the ball. Let's go to the script, okay? And then we go to the script and now we're going to add another piece of code that says if the ball touches the red color, we say game over. So let's add that. I'm going to put it up here actually so you can see better. So there we go. Now events. So again, when I click, We're going to have a forever if. So if something happens, then do something else. So if it's touching a certain color, well, that's the ball. If the ball is touching, if you click on the red, it will automatically change that to that same red color. And we're going to actually say game over, or you lose, in looks. Here, it's very simple. Why don't we just say game over, you lose, for 2 seconds. That's good enough. And once that happens, we want the game to stop. So stop all. That will stop all the code, and it will just completely stop the game. Now let's go back and let's try the game. So let's see. So I bounce it. Now let's see what happens if I don't bounce it. Game over, you lose, and the game stops. There we go. And that is a simple game. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to save my game. So first I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to call it Simple Pong Game. Just Simple Pong Game is fine. Maybe number 1. Okay, and then File, Save Now. If I'd like to share my game so other people can play it on the internet or on the on the Scratch website, I've got to stop saying Google, then you click the share button. And now, lots of people will be able to play your game. So, there we go. If you have any problems, please ask your friends, ask your colleagues, or ask your classmates, actually. Or you can speak to me anytime. So, thank you very much, guys, and good luck with your Scratch. Bye-bye.